So let's talk about Gilford. You put up a post today. The New Hampshire ACLU is going to bring a mob up there. We've covered the topic in the last 3 programs, so it only seems natural that we get an update of where we are and what you're expecting.
I'm expecting a mob. In fact, I told the Gilford school chair and vice chair, just because now that they have made it political, of course, putting it out on Granite Rock probably hasn't helped the Gilford School Board much, along with video. And we will be arriving with cameras once again because we are the press, supposedly. Yeah, so we have all these people who have decided that because of the ACLU's communist history in their beginnings and their proclivity of wanting to create new rights all the time, we have the rights of people, transgender students or staff, deciding that the school board has put into their policy GBAB, J-B-A-B, that there is a penalty phase in which if you do not call somebody by their self-designated pronoun, you will be in violation of this law. So once again, I have put in an RSA. It was rejected. Well, there's multiplicities to this thing now. I put in an RSA that said going after this guidance of pronoun usage, and frankly, all they did was send me back a copy of SB 263, the law that said, okay, gender identity is now a protected class. Yet again, so much for e pluribus unum out of many one, because now we seem to be regressing into subgroups. That right to pronoun usage now trumps constitutional rights of free speech and right to conscience, and the school board has said, basically, we will coerce your speech. So they sent me a copy of SB 263. They sent me another copy of their own policy in process, which I think takes one more reading, which will be done this coming Monday. They sent me 3 other copies of policies, almost word for word, exactly what they are putting into place, as well as the 2008 template that the New Hampshire School Board Association put this in. So this has been a long time coming. So they sent all that stuff, which means they weren't responsive to the original request. I have today put in a new request stating, where do you get the power, since we are a Dillon state, Dillon's rule state, which means the towns and cities can't do anything without authorizing legislation. What is the authorizing legislation that allows you to do this policy? And if they can't, this could really blow up in their faces, because this means that every single school board that has put this policy into place is now at legal risk for assuming a power that the state has not given them. And frankly, I'm looking to give Chuck Douglas a call tomorrow morning to see if he would be willing to take on this case, because our superintendent, Kirk Beitler, is playing the I'm dumb as a rock doohickey, and sent that stuff thinking, oh, if I just send him 30-odd pages and he just sees this over and over again, Skip is going to believe, oh, they must be getting it from somewhere, even though my question is, where did you get it from? Now, in the actual authorizing legislation for right to know, there is a remedy clause to which individuals in elected or appointed government employ can be held personally responsible for futzing up the works. And the penalties now range from $250 to up to $2,000. Frankly, I think that's way too low. I think that the sound of God should be ringing in their wallets, and I would up that to $1,500 at a minimum, and I'm willing to go to 5 digits, but that's just me. So we'll see what happens on this second go-round, and it really is going to pit at this next school board meeting, and I invite everybody who believes in traditional values and constitutional values, where those values of freedom of expression, freedom of religion, freedom of conscience, the right to free speech should show up and give testimony against the transgenders who will be showing up in numbers, I'm quite sure. The ACLU of New Hampshire has a trans justice part of them. That's what they're doing. That this is where they are looking to see how to make somebody believe in something they know is not true. We've talked about this before. We've written about this before. I wrapped them up in a couple of posts I put up today. Sorry, but when you have one set of chromosomes, you can't be the other sex's chromosomes. And it has a difference, and it has meaning. You cannot fake biology. So we'll see what happens. It's turning out to be a rather interesting thing. And as you folks well know, we got an email saying, basically thanking us for what we do, that we are showing other people that it's okay to stand up to one's government, that it is okay to hold them accountable, and it's okay to show others how to do it themselves. And we had a frequent commenter, NH Native, send that to us, and I was rather humbled. I just think, hey, I'm just doing the right thing. I'm no extraordinary person. I just do what I think is right. So, hopefully Granite Grok can show through this as an example. We may not win. We might win. Who knows? But at least we're showing that we are willing to stand up and say, no, government, you cannot go beyond your bounds. And we will be those to say no.
Sorry, I was conversing with one of my kids. Yeah, I know, and this is just quite the subject. We've covered the transgender issue at length on GraniteGrok.com. Go to GraniteGrok.com and type in the word transgender in the search and see what you get.
Or just trans.
Or trans. You might get transportation. You might get transition.
True.
Put in transgender. It's a couple more letters. Jeez, go all the way, right? Get surgery.
So you'll be overwhelmed with the amount of data, regardless.
Yeah, you will.
Just so much. It's interesting to see the variation between places that have to deal with customers and people that think they can impose on the serfs in the town or the village. When you go to big public places, there's a trend to more and more any gender so-called family bathrooms, so that people who feel that they're not one or the other can go and be quiet. Of course, that's not what these activists want. They want to be noisy, they want to be predatory, they want to be in the wrong bathroom, either to cause trouble or to actually execute some sort of mischief. But if you look at the difference between how entities like schools treat this, which is, we're going to let anybody go in any bathroom and the kids are going to have to put up with it, versus what happens in places that serve customers, where you'll see an increasing preponderance of any gender bathrooms, which are singles.
Yeah, the other thing is, too, is that, and here's where the real concern should be for everybody. New York City has just put, their Human Rights Commission has just put something into place where if you misgender somebody deliberately, you can be on the hook for $250,000. They've also got other instances of really making trans folks as protected as the rest of the LGBTQRS whatevers. California has also done something similar, that if you are a caretaker of a senior person, that if you misgender them, you are also in big, whopping, deep sneakers. It's a case, and it's the same thing that we have seen with the masterpiece cake makers, the photographers, and everything else. We're seeing government saying, we no longer care about constitutional rights such as free speech, freedom of religion, that our local ordinance is basically superior to constitutional values. This is really the dangerous part, because it's really coming down to, it doesn't matter what the Constitution says, we, the government, are the strong man, and we will rule, not govern, not represent, but we will rule you into subservience.
It's true. We talked about the recent signing by Governor Sununu of all the nonsense that has facilitated your fun times in Gilford. And we are waiting for Title IX lawsuits. We are waiting for probably some Title X lawsuits. We're waiting for somebody to get raped in a women's bathroom. Sadly, it will eventually happen. Somebody will be assaulted by somebody who misused this law, who misused the law. Put your finger down. That's not very nice. Don't point.
I've got something else.
I'm sure you do. We could talk for 4 hours. We only have 60 minutes. Relax. Oh, he's doing it too. White power symbol. So we expect to see all kinds of nonsense. And there you go. All right, I'll stop. Go ahead.
We already have some of the nonsense already going on with SB 142, which was the unconstitutional unfunded mandate by the state signed by Governor Sununu and Republicans and Democrats for period poverty, such that school districts have to supply menstrual products in both sets of bathrooms. Well, it's my understanding, and I have to confirm this a second time, but they have now removed such from the quote-unquote boys' bathrooms because they found out that the tampons were being abused. Now, I have no idea how they were. All I know is that they were removed. So something, teenage boys, we were all teenagers at one point. We know what is possible, and it probably has happened. So already I'm hoping that there's going to be a fifth column already in the schools.
They were using them for missiles.
Yes. Right. And yeah, well, I guess. I find it interesting, in spite of a number of good laws and a number of excellent vetoes of stop sending me stupid laws, which I think is terrific. The governor has embraced the slightly left of middle view on some of this stuff.
Slightly?
Why the hell he appointed a diversity czar was beyond me, and that was the beginning of the term, and that diminished both the governor and the czar, in my estimation, for one for thinking up the job and the other one for actually betraying conservative principles and doing the job.
Well, to throw a biblical reference into there, he's trying to split the baby and come out the victor. I don't think that he's winning over a heck of a lot of conservatives. Yes, he signed constitutional carry. Yay. Nice to see that happen. But, on some of this other stuff, it's like we had at that meeting that never was and nobody ever knew about. Yeah, you're supposed to do the good conservative things. That's why you got elected. Doing this other stuff, he took a lot of complaints back then, and if he were to hold it again today, I'm quite sure that 100% of the crowd, as one of his associates or helpers in his little group there, said, I expect that everybody's going to be armed. Well, yeah.
That's
never mind.
He was always socially liberal. We knew he was socially liberal. We didn't get Edelblut, and so we got stuck with him because we have to accept the fact that economically and on all the other issues, he's great. On the social issues, he sucks. And that's the way it is with Sununu, and that's not going to change. So we either replace him with somebody, which we're not going to do, or we just keep giving him crap for when he does this, which we will keep doing. So anyway, we're going to jump across the ocean.
I think it's about what we should do.
GrokTV.